Let's look at another mortgage problem. The price of a home is $230,000. The bank requires a 20% down payment and 2 points at the time of closing. The cost of the home is financed with a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage at 5.6%. In Part A, we're asked to find the required down payment. So notice they tell us that it's a 20% down payment, so we're going to take 20% of that price of the home. So first we need to turn 20% into a decimal. Remember, to do that we divide by 100, so that's going to give us 0.2 or 0.20. So we'll take 0.2 and multiply it by the 230,000. When we do that, we get $46,000 as the down payment. Now let's look at Part B. They say find the amount of the mortgage. Remember, amount of the mortgage is another way to say principal. So to find the principal, we're going to take the cost of the house, or the sale price of the house, the $230,000, and subtract out the down payment. Because we're paying that down payment ahead of time, we don't need to borrow that amount of money. So when we do that, we find that the amount of the mortgage is $184,000. For Part C, they're asking us how much must be paid for the points at closing. So if we look up here, they tell us it's 2 points. So remember, 2 points means that we need to pay 2% of the principal, so of how much we're borrowing. So I know 2% when I divide it by 100 gives me 0.02. So I'm going to take that 0.02 and multiply it by the principal that we calculated in Part B, that 184,000. So 0.02 times 184,000 gives me $3,680. So remember, this is a one-time fee. It's not going to affect our principal. It's not going to affect our monthly payment. So now in Part D, we need to find the monthly payment excluding escrowed taxes and insurance. So in the real world, your mortgage payment typically includes taxes and insurance, but for the purposes of our calculations, we're only focusing on that loan amount. So remember our formula: payment equals the principal times R over N, all over 1 minus 1 plus R over N raised to the power of negative N times T. So we need to find the principal, the rate, the N, and the T. We calculated the principal up here in Part B. It was $184,000. Make sure you're using that principal, not the sale price. If we look for the other information, they tell us in this last sentence up here that the cost of the home is financed with a 30-year, so that's our time, 30, fixed rate mortgage at 5.6%. So that interest rate is 5.6%. In decimal form, that's 0.056. And then because they're telling us it's monthly payments, we know that N is going to equal 12. So we'll have 184,000 times 0.056 divided by 12, all over 1 minus 1 plus, that same fraction, the 0.056 divided by 12, raised to the power of negative N, so negative 12, times T, 30. Now I'm going to come over and plug that in the calculator. 184,000 times 0.056 divided by 12. Hit the right arrow and close those parentheses. Go to the denominator. 1 minus, open my parentheses, 1 plus, 0.056 divided by 12. Hit the right arrow to get out of the parentheses and close them. Hit that a to the power of b, close the parentheses, or I'm sorry, open the parentheses, negative 12 times 30, close those parentheses and hit enter. So we get this 1056.305324. Let's round to the nearest cent. So that 5 tells us to bump that 0 up. So we'll have 1056.31 as the monthly payment. In Part E, they tell us to find the total cost of interest over 30 years. So remember, for interest, we have to do the amount we paid on the loan, so the payment times n times t, and then subtract out the principal. So in this case, we'll have 1056.31 times the 12 months that we paid for 30 years, minus the principal we borrowed, the $184,000. So if we do that, 1056.31 times 12 times 30, oh, I missed the time sign, there we go, minus 184,000 gives us that we're paying a total interest of $196,271.60. Now in Part F, they're asking us, after you have paid off the mortgage, how much total money have you spent on the house? So we need to figure out everything that we paid, what went into it. So we paid the down payment, we had to pay back all the principal, we had to pay that one-time fee of the points, and then we also had to pay the interest. In this case, we don't need to think about the monthly payment because the monthly payment is taken care of when we talked about the principal and when we talked about the interest, because that's what we're paying back with that monthly payment. So we're going to add all of these up. We're going to add up the 46,000 plus the 184,000 plus the 3,680 plus the $196,271.60. So I'm going to plug this in the calculator. And we find out that that house that they listed for $230,000 actually cost us $429,951.60 when it all was said and done.